Hello everybody. I wanted to talk about this rod that I purchased today at an estate sale. Let me show this to you. This is a signed Heddon rod. It's got a signature and a number on it, 142. And the handle's quite deteriorated, if you can see it there. It's, I don't know. The maple stem is coming out of the cork. So I'm trying to decide how to restore the handle, which I'll get to later. But the primary issue with this fishing rod, one is these Heddon rods from the 20s and 30s, they have German silver hardware on them. It's actually quite interesting. This is a bamboo casting rod. It's very short. It's 52 inches long. And it has a German silver silk wrapped ferrule here at the split. And most of the windings on this are quite deteriorated. So I was going to sell this on eBay. In fact, it's on eBay, but I'm actually becoming quite fond of it. So I'm thinking I might just fix it up and keep it hanging on the wall, or maybe even go out and catch a trout with it. But anyway, I have not been able to research Heddon number 142, and an expert online advised me it was probably made sometime in the early 30s. I don't know. I mean, it is split bamboo, and I apologize because I was so aggravated with this rod when I got it. Here's the tip section. It took me a long time to separate this because I didn't want to fracture the bamboo. So what I did, I soaked some a WD-40 type product into the ferrule and then was able to separate it. But you can see it's your standard split bamboo type rod. I am missing a couple guides, so that's a problem. But the thing's, 90 years old, so I guess I can't complain too much. I'll show you what I've done on the tip. What I noticed on the tip, I believe this guide, the end guide, I think is original. I don't know whether I get a good image of this here, but it appears to be an agate lined German silver guide. What I did was, after a little bit of study and a little bit of frustration, all the bamboo on the end of this, the rest of the rod's in pretty good shape, but the end of it, because of age and the desert here, this thing's been sitting in a garage here in Arizona for 50 years. What I did was I used some, I mixed up some epoxy here with a toothpick. And I took each of the 8 different bamboo strands and very carefully lined each of them with some epoxy. And found some of these little tiny office binder clips. Kind of silly, but it seems to be perfect. I mean, it worked quite well. I'll let you know. But I don't know. I'm kind of interested in collection of fishing tackle and those kinds of things. And you'll see the detail of this is these things were handmade at that factory in Michigan. I forget the name of these. I think it's Dio. I don't remember. Sorry, I forget. But had made these bamboo rods. And see, there's where the guide was on there. I have a guide. I have that. I have an original agate guide that I'm going to rewrap and put on there with silk thread. It was black thread, but I'm very suspicious that that might have already been replaced at some time in the last 80 years. So, and seems to be no information at all. There's another guide spot there. So, I'm just going to go to Cabela's and see what I can find. I hate to do that, but I might actually go out and use this thing. I mean, that's the original end guide there. So he's got the red agate in it. And I do have one other original guide. Let's go over the butt and the end piece again. It's pretty ugly. You see that? The maple stem is sticking out of the deteriorated cork. So what I'm going to do, I found a method. I'm going to keep most of this original cork, but it's going to get sanded down. And I'm going to make a slurry out of wine bottle corks and attempt to rebuild the bottom of this butt of this rod. That ought to be interesting. You can see this is very, see a little thumb grip, and it fits a very small reel, and I do not have a reel for this, which would have been probably a little brass spool, but hopefully I can find one somewhere for less than $1,000. But who knows, right? Detail's really nice on these, and Mr. Heddon signs the rod. You can see the detail on the bamboo segments on it, and the lower part of the rod is not delaminated, probably because this huge guide up here kind of keeps the wood together on the strips. There's some little bit of crazing on there, but it seems very strong. Most of the action, as you all know, on a fishing rod goes on in the upper part of the rod. So, I'll let you know how this works out. She's all glued together here with my little simple epoxy. I wish it had been a clear epoxy, not a black one, but I did use isopropanol and a good jewelry quality cleaning rag to get rid of that. And anybody who's interested in this, once it's restored, it is, I probably will keep it, but it is on my eBay site. $100 is the reserve. But I might as well just put it on the wall or go catch a couple fish. My eBay is J.E. Manduke. Capital J, capital E, M-A-N-D-U-K-E. And you might find it on there if you want to see this. But frankly, I don't care if I sell it or not. I think it's really cool because it's not a fly rod. This is a casting rod. And number 143, and I have not been able to locate any definitions of this, and I've been looking through hidden catalogs from 1910 to 1940, and I just haven't found it. Maybe one of you guys can find it, but not really. Always been kind of a, grew up with fiberglass because I grew up fishing in the 60s. Never really had any bamboo, and I have some more collector rods here that once I get them, figure out what I'm going to do with them, I'll put them on here if, for you guys that are interested in fishing equipment. I thought maybe you'd enjoy this. That's kind of my first attempt here, Mr. Engineer, right? My first attempt to try to deal with a bamboo problem and something that's an antique rod. Anyway, so that's it from here in beautiful North Phoenix. I'm Joe Manduke. Appreciate you watching. Any questions, please ask. I mean, I'll do what I can. Thank you very much.